Ha! Yes? Sort of. Okay. Hello, curiosities, and welcome to my 30th and final 30 and 30. That is 30 lessons that I've learned in the span of 30 years, and this one's getting out just under the wire. Because tomorrow is my birthday and I will be 31. Weird. I really racked my brain to figure out what should I talk about, because this seems like this should be like really important, and then it hit me, something that I've really been trying to make sort of a kind of inner, I dare to use the phrase mantra, whatever, to myself, and that is simply this: practice vigilant empathy. When we think about being empathetic towards people, we think about the people who come to us and ask for help thing. And I'm not saying we shouldn't be doing that, because everyone needs your empathy. And that's kind of my point. Everybody needs it. And honestly, a lot of the people who need it the most that we encounter every day are the people who can't ask for it or don't know how to ask for it. For instance, that rude person you bump into in the morning or whatnot, who's just a little snippy with you. And yes, you could retaliate and be snippy back, or you could take that moment and be like, you know what, this isn't actually about me, because I'm gonna be honest with you, it's not. That person's being snippy at you and you've given them literally no reason to be. It's not about you. They're projecting something that's going on in their life and it's kind of leaking out onto you, which does suck. I'm not saying it doesn't, but it's not actually about you. So you could escalate it and be like, "Rah." Or you could just sort of have that moment, be like, you know what, this isn't about me, and being just like, let it roll off your shoulders and keep going. It'll be better for your sanity. It will be eventually better for theirs. If you have an interaction, be like, hey, is there something I can do for you? Or how can I help? You seem to be going through a rough patch. Holy crap, amazing. Obviously where appropriate, and also, addendum to this is you shouldn't be taking actual abuse from anybody. That is never good. Please don't think that this is me being like, hey, take abuse, because screw that noise, June. And on the note of abuse, that's a fun segue. I want to talk about how a lot of times there seems to be some miscommunication, I've noticed, or misunderstanding, rather, between someone who is upset about a situation that has happened and someone who is recovering from abuse. They are different. Abuse, especially prolonged exposure to it, causes so many scars that I can't even begin to discuss. And you don't even really know they're there. It becomes this weird behavioral pattern that you get into, and it's like, oh, okay, yeah, right. And you get bizarrely convinced of things, like you find yourself apologizing over and over and over for things that you actually don't need to apologize for. And you're actually kind of subconsciously apologizing for just existing, because you become so used to having to do that, because that had become a method of survival. That is someone dealing with abuse or the recovery from abuse. A lot of time, and it's things like that I'm like, please practice vigilant empathy. Try to put yourself in their shoes and give them that love and support, because being like, hey, you know, maybe you should just get over it, or just stop being upset. You've got so much going on for you. That doesn't help. That really doesn't help. Just try to understand, talk to them, let them talk through it. Suggest a good therapist if you know someone, or be like, hey, how can I help you? How can I help has become one of those phrases that I have tried desperately to make my first mode of operation, essentially, anytime someone has come to me and been like, this is a thing, not can I help you, but how can I help? Because I don't want them to feel that bizarre, because especially when you're dealing with someone with abuse, or someone who has convinced themselves they're not worth it, if you give them the option to say, no, you can't help me, because they're like, oh, then I'm a burden. But when I say, how can I help? It's this idea of, I am already willing to help. You don't have to ask it of me. I'm giving it to you freely. How? How can I assist you? And too often, a lot of the people in our lives, like even the bullies, like most people bully because they're hurt. Now I'm not saying like you have to go befriend every bully, but one of the things I've tried to do with even just trolls on my Twitter or my YouTube, essentially just trying to be as compassionate as I can be to these people, because my brain thinks, you know what, you're on the internet, talking to someone, you don't frequent this page, you know nothing about me other than maybe the 5 seconds you actually bother to watch up this video, or the 140 characters plus you saw of a tweet. That's all you know about me. This amount of hate, that makes no sense. This isn't actually about me. So whatever you're going through, this is how you're getting through it. This is how you're getting rid of whatever that negativity is that's built up in you and made you feel small. And so I just try to be like, you know what? I'm really sorry. Whatever you're going through, you're gonna get through it. I know that you're strong enough that you'll get past it, and you don't have to lash out blindly anymore when you get to that point, or something to that effect. And one, either they will get bored and they'll leave. Two, they'll try it again, and I will repeat with more compassion, and they will either then again get bored and leave, or occasionally I will get a response of thank you. And it's really interesting how compassion in bizarre instances like that can shut down a situation. And I can't hit this home enough. The people, like, while everyone in the world needs empathy and love and compassion, I have found often a lot of the people in our direct contact with us who really need that empathy are the people who are too afraid to show that they need it, or too proud to ask for it, because our society or the people around them have told them that it means that they're weak, and that asking for help or leaning on someone's shoulder means they're not enough. And that's so wrong. You are enough, and it doesn't matter if you need help. We all need help from time to time, and being injured doesn't mean you're weak. We've all been bruised and cut and broken from time to time. It doesn't mean that you are less of a person. You just have an injury. It's okay to talk to a doctor when you have an injury. So, of course, it should be okay to talk to a kind heart when you're injured in here, or even here. I love you. Thank you so much for sticking with me through all of this. And I implore you, beyond everything else, like, always stay curious, and please practice vigilant empathy. Good night, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week.